I was doing some stuff in my room, and my mom sat in that chair and broke my glasses. I was so upset. And I ended up getting some just regular plain glasses after that. And I ended up then having another checkup. And we went in, and the doctor tested my eyes, and after the testing, he meets with my parents and I and says, "Tommy's eyes have gotten worse." I'm like, "Oh, okay. But they've gotten so bad that we're going to need to take some serious action." Sorry. We need to take some serious action with Tommy. It's like, okay, what's going on? They said, well, without some help, when Tommy grows up, he's not going to be able to catch a beach ball when it's thrown at him. Again, I want to tell you this so you catch this. The doctor told me and my parents, when I grow up, if he doesn't get some serious attention with his eyes, he won't be able to catch a beach ball when it's thrown to me. David, I want you to throw me the ball. Alright, very good. So, the doctor says this to my parents, and my parents are like, okay, so what do we do? And the doctor says, well, there's two options. One option, we can do surgery. We don't know for sure if it will work, but it's known to work, so hopefully it will in Tommy's case. Or, we can put a patch over Tommy's good eye. My left eye, which I think I got that upside down. See, my problem wasn't with both eyes, it was with this eye. I have a weak muscle in my right eye. When I was a kid, when I were to get tired, my right eye would start to turn in. So if you were to start talking to me, like, hey, how's it going, Tommy? Yeah, very good, blah, blah, blah. And I was tired, you would think I could potentially be looking at that direction, or I could potentially be looking this direction. It's kind of freaky talking to someone whose eyes are going this way and that way, you know what I'm saying? So, I had a lazy eye. Very, very good. Who said that? Very good. I had a lazy eye. So the idea was this. If we give Tommy a patch and we put it over his good eye, he'll be forced to have to use his weak eye, and hopefully his weak eye will then get stronger. And those are the only options. Surgery, patch, or just wear the glasses and let it get worse. So we go home. And I don't remember ever having this big discussion with my parents, but I didn't get the surgery, and I never wore a patch. I finished that school year wearing my glasses, and that next summer I said, Dad, do I have to wear my glasses? Like, no, it's fine. You're not in school. So I didn't wear my glasses that whole next summer. Beginning of the next school year, I got another checkup. The doctor looks at me and says, your eyes seem fine. What happened? It's like, well, I don't know. I didn't wear my glasses at all over the summer. And he goes, that's funny because we've heard that people that stop wearing their glasses, sometimes their eyes correct and everything's fine. But you know what? I know Jesus healed me. I know Jesus touched my eyes. A couple weeks ago, we read about some stories when Stephanie spoke about Jesus touching people's eyes, but there's another story in the Bible that we didn't read 2 weeks ago about Jesus touching a guy who was blind, and we're going to look at that tonight. It's found in Mark chapter 8. Has anyone got their Bibles with them tonight? Alright, a few people, if you want to turn there, that would be great. Mark chapter 8. It says the healing of the blind man at what? This side? Bethsaida? Alright. They came to Alright, they came to Alright, let's do that again. They came to Very good. And some people brought a blind man and begged Jesus to touch him. He took the blind man by the hand and led him outside the village. When he had spit on the man's eyes, and put his hands on him, Jesus asked, "Do you see anything?" He looked up and said, I see people. They look like trees walking around. Once more, Jesus put his hands on the man's eyes. Then his eyes were opened. His sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. Jesus sent him home, saying, don't go into the village. All right, why don't some people bring me our blind guy?
Right. Go the right way. Right. Yeah, right.
All right, we got nobody bringing me the blind guy.
I will bring it. You can make it.
All right, we got...
Left. Straight.
All right, here I am. Very good. All right. So, some people bring Jesus the blind guy. Everybody say, hi, blind guy. And Jesus obviously probably could tell, hey, this dude's blind. Because he probably went, woo, you know, that type of thing. Probably made faces at him, you know. And the blind guy didn't do anything. Jesus might have tested and went, and he didn't flinch or didn't move at all. So probably the guy's blind. So Jesus is like, okay, this guy's blind. This is what Jesus does. Jesus grabs him and brings him, and he's got him outside of the village. Everybody say outside of the village.
Outside of the village.
All right, now, well, we'll just leave you blind, because if I take those off, then you can see. Now, Jesus does something interesting. It says Jesus spits on his eyes. Now, okay. Now, this is a little different than the story we read with Stephanie. Remember the story she read in the Bible where Jesus spit on the ground, made some mud in the sand, and then took that mud and then wiped it over his eyes. Remember that story? How many of you raise your hands if you remember that story? Okay. This story is a little bit different because Jesus just spits on the guy. Okay? Now, this is a little interesting, okay? Because getting spat on is probably the worst, most humiliating, most demeaning thing you could ever possibly have happen to you. How many of you would probably agree? That's pretty bad if someone spits on you. Now, yes, someone is on the drums. Very good. So, this is the interesting thing now. This guy, in a sense then, had to humble himself in order to get his touch from God. In a sense, this guy had to be humbled to receive his touch from God. How did he get humbled? Jesus spat on his face. Okay, that's kind of humiliating to have happen. Now this guy obviously didn't see it coming. All of a sudden his face just gets wet. I can almost hear him say, Jesus, what did you do to me? And Jesus is like, well, I spit at you. Oh, thank you very much, okay? So, Jesus spits at the guy. Now, I want you to stay right here. Here's an interesting thing. Oftentimes, pride, thank you. Oftentimes, pride keeps us from receiving a touch from God. I want to say that again. Oftentimes, pride keeps us from receiving a touch from God. How does it keep you from receiving a touch from God? When you know you're supposed to come down here, and yet you stay in your seat because you know your friends are watching. How does pride keep you from getting a touch from God? Because you know you're supposed to enter into worship and praise God with everything within you, but the people on either side of you aren't, so you get nervous and scared, and you don't clap, you don't do anything because you don't want to look weird. How does pride keep you from getting a touch from God? Because in order to get that touch, you need to acknowledge that you have a problem in the first place. You need to be humble in order to receive a touch from God. You need to be humbled and say, Lord, I need you to touch my life. Now this guy didn't say it, but I will tell you, he was humbled when Jesus went and spat on his eyes. Now this guy, standing there